welcome to the Monday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Monday morning. It is Monday, folks. Here we go, another week. We've got a whole bunch of articles to go through, and got a lot of climate change articles, that's for sure. Let me make sure we got all of this is going. Okay. How's everybody doing? Hope everyone had an awesome weekend. I am super excited that at least this 4th of July weekend coming up, I'm going to have a extra long weekend. I am set to enjoy 2 days off, so at least that's good. We've got quite the we've got quite the amount of news to cover, so I'm gonna make sure we get this going here. Let me just take a moment here. Alright, so first things first, we had a video here. I think that this is super important to talk about because it is a problem, and the longer we take it down the road, the harsher it will be. Also, just a quick reminder, just a quick shout out. Thank you so much, Hannah Lindsay, for the offline follow. Appreciate that.
Evictions, it feels like we're just kicking the can down.
Yes, exactly. I was just talking about this exact
so when it comes to the moratorium on evictions,
terminology,
it feels like we're just kicking the can down the road again and again and again.
Yep.
And it just feels like we're delaying a crisis, but we're not actually adequately addressing what is going to be a crisis if the moratorium eviction ever does expire and doesn't get renewed. So this is from Brett Wilkins of Common Dreams, who writes, "Progressives say 30-day eviction moratorium extension, not enough. This only puts more pressure on our country to find a permanent solution to the housing crisis," said...
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like, it's good that they extend the moratorium evictions, and it's good that they provide, like, you know, these temporary relief measures to try to kind of, like, help people, but this isn't a permanent solution, right? This isn't a permanent solution to a very real problem. Hey, Alio, how's it going? Hey, Darknet, how's it going? Oops, I was thinking of you. Alright, there we go. Yeah, so like temporary solutions to very real, deep problems aren't the way to go. They just continue to kick the can down the road, and, you know, it festers.
Representative Rokana, we can't keep kicking.
I haven't streamed in like 6 years, but thanks. And, hey,
he's exactly
maybe one day, yeah.
About this. So let's read a little bit of this article. We're not going to get to the entire thing, but I want to at least get the gist of it. Progressive lawmakers and tenant advocates on Thursday said that while the Biden administration's 30-day extension of the COVID-19 eviction moratorium would provide brief but welcome relief for millions of people facing imminent eviction, U.S. leaders must work to find a permanent solution to the nation's housing crisis. Absolutely. U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky said Thursday that the eviction moratorium will be extended from June 30th to July 31st, and that the move is intended to be the final extension. So that's final extension to hear. 30 days. Will we have a solution by then? I mean,
probably
when
not.
When it comes to American government getting anything accomplished in 30 days?
Probably not. I don't want to like go too far into this because we have a whole bunch of content to cover. But probably not. I mean, the reality is, like, I'm not sure if we have a competent enough government to be able to seriously address this problem, right?
This is a bit worrisome because it seems unlikely. While some housing advocates applauded the temporary reprieve, others argued that much more must be done to address the crisis. It's not enough, activist and podcast host Thomas Spite said of the extension. California alone has 758,000 people behind on rent collectively, owing $4,700 each. A single month will not fix lack of a month.
Yikes. This isn't like a new problem, right? This isn't a new problem at all. This didn't just happen overnight. Okay, this has been a problem brewing for quite some time. It's just that the pandemic exacerbated this problem. That's it. That's really what it was.
Problem. Yeah, delaying a crisis. I mean, the delay is welcome. I'm not going to poo-poo that. I think that that's good. And progressives are right to applaud the 30-day extension. Having said that, though, it's still a
Hey,
crisis.
Kevin.
And we have to do something about this. And yeah, as James from the internet says, 12 million evictions is probably not going to go too well. Yeah, I mean, if you thought that, you know, the civil disobedience that we saw in 2020 was bad, if that many people lose their homes and they have nowhere to go, I mean, things are going to get a lot worse. So this is just
it's James from the internet.
There's an iceberg dead ahead, and we're sailing straight towards it. And every so often, we'll just push the iceberg back, or I guess we should say slam on the brakes, so we're not moving as fast, but we're still headed in that direction, and we have to take meaningful action. So let me read this tweet here. So this is from Tara Raghoover, who says the CDC has officially extended the federal eviction moratorium by 30 days to the end of July. This is a relief, but it won't last long. Even if states and cities hustle to distribute rental assistance this month, millions of tenants will still be stuck with massive debts.
Yeah.
So think about this. You
so
lost
nobody,
your job during
I feel like nobody thought this through at all. A lot of these folks who haven't been able to work because of the pandemic, because their job was shut down, or because they had to stay home. All of this has been how do I say this? Has been put on, I guess, hold. If you want to say it in those terms, it's been put on hold. How do you expect these people who have not been working this entire time to come up with a year and something's worth of rent? How did anybody seriously think that this was an acceptable way? Understanding that all this is a ticking time bomb. Alright, Kitty, hold on. Midnight Slip, thank you for the follow. That's right, Alio. Kind of been wondering why there isn't more talk about homelessness. Seems to be worse now than in its peak in the 80s. Yeah, like I said, OG Landshark, this is something that's been brewing for quite some time. The problem is that the pandemic kind of just yeeted this off the cliff and made it way worse, and now people are freaking out, and the government's response was, well, maybe if we just hold back the rent without any real solutions behind it, it'll work out. Howdy Memo. I don't know. This seems really bad.
And perhaps you finally are maybe getting back on your feet, but all of a sudden months of back rent is due.
Right, months of back rent, almost a year, maybe more, depending on how long you've been out.
Are facing eviction, and this is a really serious issue. I mean, this is a crisis that I don't see getting, one, talked about enough, and two, more importantly, addressed in any concrete way by Congress at all. We can run around in circles every month talking about an eviction cliff or tsunami or whatever we want to call it. If we don't make policy to solve for root causes the violence of commodifying basic needs, an eviction disaster is inevitable. Millions will never recover. And this is just it. I really like this tweet because it truly...
This is some 2008 vibes if it continues. This is frustrating because the state courts still have discretion for evicting tenants, so they'll just find ways to evict a tenant based on a violation of the lease that has nothing to do with non-payment for rent. True. And that is a possibility, and there have been situations like that. Yes.
Tries to put things into perspective. I don't think people fully comprehend what's coming, how bad this is going to be if this isn't addressed. And by the way, evictions are happening right now. Great point. Even while the federal order remains in effect, I live and organize in Missouri, where judges have exploited shortcomings of the federal eviction moratorium. Judges in Kansas City have been evicting tenants since last May. I mean, just like for a second, I don't want to just like read over that. Let's just think about that. Like, they've been evicting tenants during a pandemic. The eviction-
Yeah. And by the way, that means just because like evictions have been put on hold doesn't mean all these evictions haven't been filed already. Right? A lot of these evictions have been filed and ready to go as soon as these moratoriums are lifted. So the moment all of this happens, there's going to be a ton of these cases like ready to go. Alio with the 10 biddies coming in hot. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So yeah, this is really bad. Or potentially could be really bad if they don't figure this out.
It's never stopped. So I mean, like, even when I talk about this eviction crisis that's coming, that might even be an oversimplification, because there already is a housing crisis in the United States and evictions have been happening. But we're not just talking about like, a consistent stream of evictions. We're talking about a massive amount of evictions all at once. And it seems like there's no plan. There's no plan. And
yeah, I think
horrifying. And I don't understand.
That's a real crux of it, right? Like, there's no plan. There's literally no plan to address this problem that has been brewing for quite some time at this point, and it's just there, waiting to sneak up on us, and all of a sudden, when that housing, as the housing bubble starts to build and it's getting to that point, I mean, it could potentially, depending on how things go, it could potentially be really bad. I think that it's something that definitely needs to be talked about and brought to the forefront, because like the representatives, Congress, the administration has to figure out some type of permanent solution to this, because this isn't going away. You can't just keep kicking the can down the road. You can't just do that. A lot of these filed evictions are also waiting in the wings, where when the moratorium is lifted in my state, you can still try your case in court to evict your tenant. The sheriff was just paused from evicting. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was saying. Until the moratorium is gone, by that time, the landlord has no incentive to work with the tenant, since the landlord already has a judgment against them. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying, the Kevin. Because, like, just because that there's an eviction moratorium does not mean all of these cases haven't been filed yet, right? Like, you can still file your case, it's just not going to be heard. Until these evictions start being lifted, until these moratoriums start being lifted. I kind of wonder how many properties the banks are about to get. I don't even want to think about that.
How there's zero sense of urgency from lawmakers. Let's say you get
evicted. That's what's frustrating. Zero urgency from lawmakers at all. Nothing. Not one. Not one.
And you can't come up with months of back pay or back rent. You get evicted. And then 5 years later down the road, you're finally back on your feet after getting evicted. Well, now you want to rent again. Guess what? Now, that's going to be on your rental history. It's going to be that much more difficult for you.
Yeah, and not only that, oh my god.
Find a landlord that's going to want to rent to you.
That's so horrible. Like, I could see this, like, oh my god. That's really bad. That's really bad. That's really bad. That's right, Darknet.
If you have this blemish on your history. So it's like all of these issues.
We always got time and money for war, but
and it's
not
gonna be
for
devastating.
this.
So I do want to get to the lawmakers who are trying to address this. On Tuesday, ahead of the extension announcement, a group of 44 Democratic House lawmakers, led by Representatives Ayanna Pressley, Jimmy Gomez, and Cori Bush, sent a letter to President Joe Biden and Walensky urging them to strengthen and extend the moratorium. The impact of the federal moratorium cannot be overstated. They wrote, and the need to strengthen and extend it is an urgent matter of wealth, racial, and economic justice.
Can your chef's knife do this?
Why is it trying to sell me knives now? So weird.
Newsom wants to pay all back rent owed by low-income Californians using...
Yes, so we went over this article. So I'm gonna... That's right, they have money for war and can't feed the poor. Yep, that's been a constant theme. They've got time, money, funds, bipartisanship for war. That's all good. Yeah, we went over this article. It's not the worst idea. It's not the worst idea to attempt to do just kind of like essentially what would be rent forgiveness. It's not necessarily a bad idea. It doesn't really solve like the core of the issue, but I think that I would prefer that we find a more permanent solution. I mean, this is going even a step further, right? Just completely canceling any back rent and just kind of keeping everybody in their current homes and so on and so forth. But yikes. Yeah, awkward commercials have become a staple in this show. True. We can all live in surplus cop tanks. True.
Pandemic relief funds. So, from the perspective of a state, I think that this makes sense because this would fall under pandemic relief funds. I mean, people lost their jobs and their livelihoods because of the pandemic. So it makes sense to use the funds available to you. So, California Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom facing
yes, we already went through this. So TLDR, we need to pay more attention to this because this is going to be quite bad if nothing gets done, or at least that's what it points to. At least that's what it's pointing to. I guess in a show of solidarity, Dutch leader says Hungary must leave EU over anti-LGBT LGBTQ law, vows to bring Hungary to its knees. So it seems like the authoritarian Viktor Orban is being told to stop this, or otherwise there will be consequences. I mean, like, as the EU, I think they could put pressure on them. So that's pretty good. You reminded me I gotta make a sandwich. I'm hungry. Nice. Sandwiches are good. Hey Jesse, how's it going? I think this is a positive step. Maybe they could put some pressure. Maybe they could put some pressure, I'm not sure. We'll see how that goes. Coffee is brewed. Nice. Are we calling it Hungrexit? Well, it's not like Hungary wants to do it. They're being like threatened to be kicked out. But yes, Hungry exit. We'll see if that achieves any results. Thousands of without power during record-breaking heat. Hey, remember that like little funny thing called like climate change that we keep talking about? Yeah. And remember our good friends from PGE? Well, maybe we should probably really kind of hopefully take this seriously. Thousands of people in the Portland metro area lost power on Sunday, while the region experienced temperatures over 100 degrees. As of 4:50 p.m. Sunday, Portland General Electric said 2,574 customers in Clackamas County, 1,291 customers in Multnomah County, 605 in Washington County, 765 customers in Yamhill County were without power. In temperatures over 100 degrees. Just saying. PGE said the outages were heat-related. And again, this is to stress the importance of taking climate change seriously. This is a product of climate change. PGE said the outages were heat-related. According to PGE's outage website, all outages were expected to be restored by Sunday evening. Yeah, imagine having, what, hours upon hours of your power being cut in the middle of this heat wave. Pacific Power had one outage in Hood River affecting one customer and two outages near Napa affecting 12 customers. Clark Public Utilities had 9 customers whose power went out. At the same time, the current temperature measured at the Portland International Airport was 111 degrees. I mean, imagine not even having a fan in that heat. Yeah, you can't even power a fan. People don't understand like just how important this is and why it's so and why it's such a bad idea to leave this in the hands of like private companies. Power infrastructure all over this country are criminally neglected. Yeah, because, well, these are private companies. Portland broke its all-time high record temperature on Sunday when it reached 109 degrees shortly before 2 p.m. It also broke the record Saturday when it reached 108. Oh my god. The previous record was 107, which was recorded in August of 1981. Alright? So it just broke its record back to back this weekend. It broke its own record back to back this weekend, folks. Just take a second to think about that, right? Take a second to think about that. It literally broke its own record back to back within its same weekend. So a 40-year record was broken on Saturday, and then that was broken on Sunday. Coin6 News spoke to PGE on Wednesday about the upcoming heat wave. The utility company said it expected the hot weather would put a strain on the power grid as people work to stay cool. They said that the increased energy caused by people using air conditioning units can strain the electrical system. Yeah, why? Because they never bothered to weatherize their systems. Yeah, but snow's real too, so sorry, but checkmate scientist, true. At the time, PGE PGE said they could not promise there would not be any outages because of the heat. I mean, that's right, it's Bill Gates scientist. You know, if it's like my area, it's lines installed in 1940s and barely touched since, yeah. Because they couldn't be bothered to weatherize their systems, even though they were told repeatedly that, you know, a winter storm could mess it up, heat could cause strain on the power grids. I mean, this isn't like... It's not like they didn't know, right? It's not like this is like an obscure concept, right? I'm gonna buy the coal or whatever it is I need to clean my water. Yes, this is a story about Houston. I'm sad for the future. I'm worried. I'll say that. Let the fish have it. The 26 billion plan to save Houston area from rising seas. Lawmakers are poised to decide the fate of a massive project to protect Texas coast from surging seawater. Ah, that's weird. So everything is big. Everything is bigger in Texas, including the impacts of climate change and gross incompetence of its government. 20 guys, and this story is incredibly important to highlight the enormous cost of what is to come. I want people to like realize that the cost is going to be massive, right? This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. $26 billion is just the beginning. When Hurricane Ike made landfall in 2008, Bill Merrill took shelter on the second floor of a historic brick building in downtown Galveston, Texas, along with his wife, their daughter, grandson, and 2 chihuahuas. Aww. Sustained winds of 110 miles an hour lashed the building. Seawater flooded the ground floor to a depth of 8 feet. Yikes. Once in the night, Merrill caught a glimpse of a near full moon and realized they had entered the hurricane's eye. Eesh. Years later, Merrill, a physical oceanographer at Texas A&M University at Galveston, had toured the gigantic Eastern Scheldt storm surge barrier, a nearly 6-mile-long bulwark that prevents the North Sea storms from flooding the southern Dutch coast. As Ike roared outside, Merrill kept thinking about the barrier. The next morning, I started sketching what I thought would look reasonable here, and it turned out to be pretty close to what the Dutch would have done. These sketches were the beginning of Ike, a proposal for a coastal barrier intended to protect Galveston Bay. The core idea, combining huge gates across the main inlet into the bay from the Gulf of Mexico, known as Bolivar Roads, with many miles of high seawall. Yeah, again, this is a band-aid to the real core of the problem, but my entire point of bringing this up is simply to illustrate that this climate change cost is going to be enormous, and we're not even seeing the full like capabilities of it, right? And we're already having to spend billions and billions and billions of dollars, not only to raise quote-unquote seawalls, but property damage, people's homes, people's livelihoods destroyed to the tune of billions. Yeah, just move. That's right. I live in Colorado. We don't need a bazillion Texan refugees. Don't worry, we're coming in anyways. I mean, how much damage did that impromptu ice storm do to Texas? How much damage is this heat wave doing? I mean, what is it gonna take, folks? What is it gonna take to do some meaningful action before this gets way worse? Did you see that leaked UN report, the IPCC? Yeah, we talked, we brushed up on it, but I believe we got this one here queued up. I think you posted this one. We got this one queued up right here. Fun fact, NOAA is the Department of Commerce. Interesting, I did not know that. Jesus. Interesting. The National Oceanic Atmosphere Atmospheric Administration is part of the Department of Commerce. That's such a weird, like... That's such a weird place to put it. Like, Department of Commerce? I would imagine this would be like the Department of... I don't know. Do we even have a Department of Science? Maybe it should be its own thing. And just across from Galveston, at least 15 people died that night on the Bolivar Peninsula, and the storm destroyed some 3,600 homes just in that area alone. Bodies were still missing next year when Merrill began to promote the Ike Dike, but he said the idea was really ridiculed pretty universally. Politicians dislike its cost, environmentalists worried about its impact, and no one was convinced it would work. Yeah, so like, what's the alternative here, folks? Department of Interior, maybe. We need a Department of Money things. What was the question? Oh. No, I was saying like maybe we should maybe the Department of, well, maybe NOAA should be in its own department, because I don't know why it would be under the Department of Commerce. That's so strange. It's so strange to like put the NOAA under the Department of Commerce. I don't... Oh, I see. Commerce was the ocean? I see. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I suppose. But in history it makes sense. Nowadays it probably doesn't. You'd have to know that. Interesting. Merrill persisted, returning to the Netherlands. He visited experts at Delft University and enlisted their support. Over the next few years, the Dutch and U.S. academic researchers carried out dozens of studies in Galveston Bay, studies on Galveston Bay options, while Merrill and his allies gathered support from local communities, business leaders, and politicians. I agree, Memo. There's definitely a reorganization of how we do things. That's for sure. So the TLDR of this, because we are going to try to get through as many of this as possible, the TLDR of this is to illustrate just how expensive it is to continue to ignore climate change, right? The cost, not just in human lives, which we went over in the last article, but the cost, literal cost, is enormous. This is just in one city, in one area. What about the entire East Coast? What are we supposed to do with that? It's too late to save our coastal cities. Maybe from sea level rise. It's possible that it already may be locked in to be too late. I guess the only thing we can do is try to encourage people to get out as much as humanly possible, and provide governmental like programs for relocation. I don't know. Sorry, Florida. True. All right, so this is the main article that I want to talk about. But we've got a few things to go through, and we're gonna try to get through some of this. I don't know how much I can stand, how long I can stand the speech, but we'll try covering some of it. This might be interesting. I want a Bill of Responsibilities that would go along with the Bill of Rights. Modern democratic constitutions made in the 20th century include them, like designating how tax dollars are spent. This would help keep the government more accountable and hopefully stop unlimited military spending. We have an ancient, creaky constitution, the oldest in the world, and it needs an update. I mean, like, I wouldn't be opposed to, like, updating and, you know, adding amendments to try to, make this better. I would not be, I would not be opposed. That's an interesting idea. You have like an itemization of how the government spends its money on what. That might actually be that might actually not be a bad idea, where you can line item and say, look, you can't go past 10% on the military. You can't go past I don't know, 50% on education. You can't go past 80%. Like, you know, you just divide the line items to make sure that you prioritize the right things, and you can't just like find yourself in a situation where you're spending 700 and something billion dollars on the military. If you look up some modern constitutions, you can see Bill of Rights and Bill of Responsibilities. Cool. That's an interesting concept. So you have like the Bill of Rights codified, and then you have like the Bill of Responsibilities of what the government is responsible for, right? Like what you're supposed to do, like, you know, like theoretically, ideally, how a government should work, except codified into the Constitution. Very interesting. Very interesting. Now that is a concept I might get behind. Stolen, I tell you. Attempt to create like essentially habitats and bring back like biodiversity. Also, more trees usually is good, but I don't know if like I don't know exactly what the end all ramifications would be of this. This looks so ugly. I've been thinking about moving to Singapore. I need to change from North Africa. Hey KTS Shen, how's it going? This looks so ugly. Yeah, I mean, hey, if it works, if it proves to be working, then sure,
across the planet.
So I think that the idea
are the architects of the urban world.
I think the idea is to promote like biodiversity by creating habitats, essentially. I'm not necessarily opposed to the ideas. I just don't know what the implications are. It might help. It might help. I don't like seeing nature under totalitarian rule. Well, I mean, we kind of did that already, yeah? More greenery helps purify the air, mitigate harmful UV rays, basically helps as a protective layer for the earth. It's, yeah, like, it's possible, Midnight Slip, that this might do some good. I'm not sure. We need to be leaping and diving toward radical change. In terms of, like, climate change, yes, I believe so. My concern is when the trees start outgrowing the planters. Yeah, like, I don't know. I don't know if I wouldn't necessarily necessarily opposed to like having more trees planted around and make more like parks and stuff like that, and like try to greenify as much as possible. But what exactly are the end results of doing this? Are you going to end up in the aggregate harming more environments? Or, I mean, I guess there could be situations where you could do good. As the video stated, some otter populations are coming back. So, I don't know, I guess it has its place. It just depends. It just depends. Raising animals for eating produces global warming. Yes. True. Trees are foundations of communities of soil. Yes, so they belong on the ground. So I don't know, again, how putting them on high rises is going to necessarily do anything. I just don't know. I'm not gonna necessarily take down the idea. I just don't know what the end results will be, right? Are you going to do more harm or are you going to do more good? Not sure. Neat concept though. Yes, that's right, Memo. There's been extensive studies showing how, you know, it's not like communication, like we have communication or like animals have communication, but the root systems in some of these forests are incredibly interconnected and have the capability, from what I understand, to share types of information, right? Yes, share nutrients, and they share types of like information, as far as I can tell. Now this is interesting. Solar punk. Instead of steampunk, let's do solar punk, folks. Oh, this would be so cool. I agree with this one. Let's do solar punk instead of steampunk. Hundreds of anti-logging protesters arrested in Canada. Police in Western Canada have arrested 270 people as conflict over old-growth logging in British Columbia's ancient rainforest continues to grow. Yeah, this is horrible. The movement is an attempt to pressure the British Columbia government to halt the cutting of what activist experts say is the last 3% of ancient trees left standing in the province. This is so sad. This is so sad. We think we can move to full protection in all 5 areas. He added, saying that any such protection would require the consent of the First Nations, whose traditional territory includes the ancient forest in question. The deferral was requested in early June by the elected leadership of the Pachidat, Diditat, and Hue First Nations, which say they want to take back control of how their Hahauli, or traditional territories, are managed. In a joint statement, the 3 chiefs of the First Nation said they would use the deferral to develop their own forest stewardship strategies. For more than 150 years, they have watched as others decided what was best for their lands, water, and people. This declaration brings this practice to an immediate end. The Pachidat Chief Counselor, Jeff Jones, did not return the Guardian's request for comment. Yeah, this is so horrible. Oh, it takes one cigarette smoker to burn the whole city down? No, that only happens... That only happens if it would be like dry area. Regular like green doesn't burn like that. It's a communist talk like that which makes Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk so sad they have to fly to Mars, true. Yes, known strict communist talking point saved the planet. And this is so sad because we could do so much better. We can do so much better. I meant the cartoon picture you showed earlier where everything was made of wood and flowers. Oh, I see. Yeah, I still support solar punk though. We should definitely move in that direction. All right, let's see how much if we can how much because it's an hour and a half. I'm gonna try to shorten this. Shorten the agonizing pain.
We're going to defeat Ohio for the incredible turnout. That's thousands of people trying to get in.
Thousands.
And all of the unbelievable hard-working patriots who are here tonight at the very first rally of the 2022 election. We're going to take back the House. We're going to take back the Senate. 20 police departments are being gutted. Illegal aliens are overrunning their borders. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Our poor borders, they were so perfect. They were so good.
Wait, I thought the wall. Wait, what about the wall? I thought you did the thing. Huh. Because under his administration, he was touting the efficacy of the wall. He was touting the 90% plus efficacy. What happened?
Drug cartels and human traffickers are back in business like they've never been before. They're doing
Wow.
numbers that they've never even thought possible.
Wow.
And just a few short months ago, drugs were way down. Human trafficking was way down. It was all
So
way
wait. So my administration makes wall good. Wall 90%. What did he say originally? I think he said like 95% effective. Administration is gone. Now wall not good. Wall 0% effective. Wait.
down. It was, all they had to do was go away for a little while. It was beautiful.
Beautiful.
But the schools, when you take a look at schools, and you look at all of the things that happen, left-wing indoctrination camps, critical race theory is being forced on our military. Gas prices are spiking, inflation is skyrocketing, and China, Russia, and Iran are humiliating our country. Joe Biden is destroying our nation right before our very own eyes. The number one priority for everyone who wants to save America is to pour every single ounce of energy you have into winning a gigantic victory in the midterms and in 2024.
First of all, didn't we just send like bombers to the Middle East? Trump knows this from Mar-a-Lago full of KFC buckets.
Together, we will send Joe Biden and the fake news media. There's a lot of people back there. Look at that. Look at that.
I don't understand why the news why the news even continues to cover this, as he continues to say like they're like fake news. Whatever. I suppose that we should hear this. I suppose people need to know who this guy is.
Do you miss me? They miss me.
Nah.
They miss me. I know. They look at their bad ratings and they're saying, we miss this guy. I said it was going to happen. I was waiting for them to endorse me, actually.
Wait. Didn't like happen like now, this isn't an endorsement of like CNN or anything like that, but didn't their numbers actually like go up?
I know that was a big step, but they're going down the tubes. Their numbers are very bad. But together, we will send Biden and the media and all of the people that are so bad to our country, big tech tyrants.
Not only that, like usually viewership declines after an election cycle. Usually like viewership in terms of like politics and news kind of always goes on a downturn when the election cycle is over. Alright, we'll take a look at it. It's funny.
A message they cannot ever censor, cancel, or ignore. We will take back the House, we will take back the Senate, and we will take back America, and we will do it soon. There is no more dire threat today than the crisis on our southern border. Other than perhaps our elections, that's a dire threat there.
Wait.
That's probably the biggest threat of all, isn't it, huh? What happened in the election, it's a disgrace. But we'll be talking...
Wait. Oh my god. This is pretty bad. Hold on. I always found it bizarre that the most dire threat that you can think of, to the nation, isn't the obvious and impending economic crisis, isn't the homelessness crisis, isn't climate change, isn't I don't know what else could be possibly above the list. I already mentioned income inequality. Well, I said housing, but income inequality. All of these things. Healthcare. How could you not think that healthcare isn't a bigger crisis than what's happening at the southern... Like, it seems to me like when these people don't have an answer... when these people don't really want to talk about, like, real solutions to real problems, it always seems to be like, we gotta turn our attention to this southern border.
About that. Unless you'd rather not have me talk about it. Would you rather talk about it?
I'm good.
Immediately upon taking office, Joe Biden deliberately and systematically, through his people, because I don't think he did it,
Through his people.
dismantled America's border defenses and incited a flood of illegal migrants.
Guys, within like 6 months, he somehow managed to dismantle the entire border defense, folks. It's not like he poured more money into ICE or anything like that. But he dismantled the entire border defense. Incredible. Yeah, that's right, KTS.
Like this country has never seen. They violated our laws from every single corner of the globe. They were invited in, and we can't do that. We can't afford it. We can't have it. We can't have people coming out of prisons. We have no idea who they are. Illegal border crossings are now up 976% since just a short few months ago. When I left office, we gave the new administration the most secure southern border our country had ever seen, by far. We ended the ridiculous catch and release. You know what that is? You catch them and you release them into our country, a brilliant policy. And they're back at that now. We ended asylum fraud. We built almost 500 miles of very beautiful, very successful wall.
So, wait, how can you say that, like... How can you say that our entire like border is like all messed up, but also say like we did such a good job that like, yeah, Schrodinger's wall. There you Schrodinger's wall. Thank you.
That was working. And it would have, oh, thank you.
Exactly.
That's
it is
a friend of mine. He's a conductor.
It is both porous and it is also
By the way, I have to say,
tight sealed.
You know, I have to say, just driving over here was a 30-minute drive from the airport. The farms, the houses, the lawns are all beautiful. It looks like you cut your lawns every day. You have no crime, you have no murders, you have no muggings.
Huh.
I said to a couple of the law enforcement people, who are phenomenal, by the way.
Is that
I said,
a dog whistle?
what are the crime stats here? Let me guess. There's not a lot of it. He said, sir, there isn't. But every lawn was so beautiful. Every farm was perfect. The barns were painted. The place is gorgeous. And thank you for letting us win on November 3rd, the great state of Ohio, in a record number.
Pandering to big lawn,
number.
true.
We won a lot of places that people haven't figured out yet, but actually most of them have. We empowered ICE to do their jobs. We worked to cancel down on sanctuary
That's right,
cities. We did
Sabercat.
a number on sanctuary cities. We want to cancel sanctuary cities.
Whoa.
Sanctuary cities take care of many
Weren't you just complaining about cancel culture? No, I'm kidding.
many criminals. They're very dangerous places. Even in California, they really want sanctuary cities out, but for some reason the politicians don't. Didn't they send out 38 million ballots in California? I wonder what the real vote in California would be.
Still the same. The definition of insanity is counting the same ballots over and over again and expecting different results.
And we crushed the very vicious thugs known as MS-13 under my administration. When an illegal alien trespassed across our borders, we caught them, we detained them, and we rapidly threw them the hell out of our country, and we did it by the thousands.
Is this sped up or is Donald Trump back on his 90s devil dandruff habit? No, this is sped up because we need to get through this.
And once we got the word out, people didn't come. It wasn't really that big a deal. People just didn't come. Once he came in, he said, we want everybody to come in. Oh, that was a disaster. You have, by the way, not the numbers they report. Remember, they're fake news. You have millions of people coming into this country. You have millions of people coming into our country. We have no idea who they are. People coming into this country. You have millions of people coming into our country. We have no idea who they are. Joe Biden is doing the exact opposite as we did. His policy is to make illegal immigration as easy as possible, instituting catch and release, ripping apart our asylum agreements, ordering a stop and, did you see this? A stop order. Any contractors here? Do you ever get a stop order? We had the biggest stop order the world has ever seen. We stopped finishing the wall. We stopped working on the wall. Now they want to finish the wall, and the contractors are saying, how much are you going to pay us? They have to
That's
start all
not...
over again.
What? That's the Texas legislature, isn't it? Okay.
I want to just congratulate those contractors. They're going to make a fortune. They crippled ICE and the Border Patrol.
They crippled ICE and Border Patrol by increasing their budget? Wait. Wait. And second of all, that's not the admission you want. Like, that's not exactly the thing you want to be admitting, right? You're giving all of these private corporations, private contractors, a whole bunch of federal money for useless projects just to stuff money in their pockets. I mean, do people not, like, see that? Like, mind you, this guy used to be into real estate, so it isn't that hard of a stretch to believe that these are just his buddies getting cool federal contracts for money.
I'll tell you what, Border Patrol, these are incredible people. ICE, they're incredible people. I wouldn't want the job. I wouldn't want it.
Wait.
Most of the people, you have some very tough people in this audience. I can't see anybody that would do that job very well, let me just say. It's a rough job. They run into a pack. They call it a pack. They run into a pack of MS-13 and they start swinging and they start swinging hard.
What?
And in the end, they win. They're tough, they're smart, and you know what? They love our country. And somebody has to do that work. For the last 3 months...
Wait, is he imagining in his head that there's like... Is he imagining in his head that there's like these like medieval like melee battles between MS-13 and ICE agents? Imagine just saying everything is July 4th. True.
More than anything that you've ever seen, the illegal alien minors have arrived at our border. These are, in many cases, just wonderful kids. And they are coming in at levels that we've never seen, and then they're sent around all over this country. All over the country, they're sent. And right now, I just heard for the first time, who would even think it, but I heard for the first time, they're on suicide watch. So many of these young kids, they're on suicide watch. All because of this stupid policy that you've been watching over the last few months.
What
kids are on
policy?
suicide watch. Think of that. Biden has violated his constitutional oath, endangered our safety, and look, he surrendered our really, if you think of it, no matter how you cover it, sovereignty. What he's done to our nation is unthinkable in a short period of time, and I said that was going to happen. I said it was going to happen.
Holy yikes. I can't... Yeah, I know. I know, Chai. Yes, that's how this works, Chai Bureaucrat. It's, Schrodinger's, Schrodinger's, wall. Howdy, howdy.
We need a Republican Congress to shut down the lawless Biden agenda, and it is a lawless agenda. We have to defund his reckless immigration policies and restore our nation's southern border to where it was.
Wait, defund? Did he just say he wants to defund ICE? Because, to my knowledge, the Biden administration increased funding for it. Comrade Trump?
Thank you very much.
On the plus side, at least they're chanting 4 more years and not 12.
Did you ever hear the expression that the vote counter is sometimes much more important than the candidate? Did you ever hear that expression?
No.
Think about that. Because what happened on November 3rd was a disgrace.
What?
On the evening of November 3rd, the election was over. And then all of a sudden, things started closing down all over. In certain states, not in other states.
Because,
it happened in Ohio.
Because
it happened in certain
states...
swing
Wait,
states.
because states run their elections? Each state has a different policy? What?
And we took a massive victory, they did, into something that should never be allowed.
What?
Kamala Harris, your vice president, only went...
Oh, is that an admission? Hold on, he said you're vice president. Guys, we're making progress, folks. we're making progress.
To the border yesterday for the one simple reason, because I announced that I was going next week, and I am, at the request of Texas Governor Abbott and Border Patrol. I'm going to the border next week. Oh, if I didn't do that, I don't know if she was ever going to go. I really don't know. Was she ever going to go? I don't know. The radical
Trump is the only one who can save our country. I thought he already did.
Call it whatever you want, is also contributing to massive crime.
I thought he already did he not? Or did he actually not do any of the things that he said? I don't know. It seems kind of contradictory, right? Don't you think?
Other countries are emptying their prisons into the United States. You know that, right? They're opening their prisons. Why should they have these killers, these drug dealers, these traffickers? And they traffic in women, by the way, mostly. They traffic in women. Why should they have them?
Oh,
Why should they
yeah.
feed them? Why should they have to watch them?
So to justify your delusions, you're just gonna blame it on, the other party without taking any type of personal responsibility. Wow. That seems kind of like antithetical to the type of to the core of your ideologies, right? In terms of like taking taking personal responsibility and introspection. It seems like you just want to blame everybody else for your problems. That's kind of weird how it works, right?
They're very dangerous. Let's send them to the United States. We'll put them in the caravans and they'll get in, because nobody even checks who's coming into our country. It's insanity, and it's destroying our country. Destroying our country.
That's what you're sounding like. I'm just
They are, they're
throwing
murderers
it
and
back
drug
to you.
dealers, and nobody's ever seen anything like it, what's happening. Just this month, a previously deported illegal alien in Massachusetts with prior charges for murder and many other things gunned down a man in broad daylight, shooting him viciously and violently as he lay in the street 4 times. Recently,
That's Democrats' way of thinking. But you're just blaming. You're just doing the thing. Are you not listening to the words that you're typing? Or do you just type random stuff for the sake of it? Listen to what you just said. You are literally blaming the Democratic Party for the sake of blaming the Democratic Party instead of acknowledging the failures of the Trump administration and trying to do better. You have absolutely no sense of introspection or personal responsibility.
Place. An illegal alien who entered the country as an unaccompanied minor under Obama was charged with hacking a woman and their 15-year-old sister into very small pieces.
Oh yeah, the classic, under Obama. When in doubt, bring up Obama.
With a machete and stabbing 2 other people to death. And right here in Ohio, a twice deported fugitive, MS-13 gang member, the worst anywhere in the world. And we've taken out thousands and thousands, and now they want to let him come back. He was charged with murder. He was discovered in Galloway after entering our country for a 3rd time, and bad things happened. And you know, when I came up tonight, I had so many people, they said, could you do us a favor? What? Could you talk the snake? You remember the snake? I used to use it on occasion, not often.
And which policy exactly was this?
The snake. The snake. The snake. And this has to do with our border. It wasn't meant to be for the border. It was meant to be for other reasons. But this has to be really what's happening to our border. And so many people said, please, please, you're going to Ohio. I don't know the fact that I'm going to Ohio, why they want to talk about the snake. But it's because of immigration, and it's because of the borders, and because Ohio sees it far better than most, don't you, huh? You understand what's happening? The snake. On her way to work one morning, down the path, along the lake, a tender-hearted woman
I know.
saw a poor,
This is
half-frozen snake.
Oh boy.
His pretty-colored skin had been all frosted with the dew. Poor thing, she cried. I'll take you in, and I'll take
Democrats
care
accept
of you.
problems,
to the
Democratic
snake.
extremists.
Take me in, oh tender woman, take me in, for
yeah?
heaven's sake. Take me in, oh tender woman, sighed the vicious snake.
Wait. Hold on. Chat. Does anybody here think that the Biden administration is the epitome of the best administration ever? Does anybody here, like, does anybody think that, like, the Obama administration was, like, was the epitome of good? granted, they did do good things. However, there were some serious problems with them, and we criticize them when they do bad. Wait, wait, you're not gonna, is this supposed to be some kind of gotcha? Wait, is this supposed to be some kind of gotcha? I mean, you're comparing it to Reagan BPCL. Of course Obama's gonna be better.
Snake.
It's not
She
a
wrapped
good,
him up,
that's not
all
a,
cozy in a comforter
that's not a high bar to put.
of silk and laid him by her fireside with some honey and some milk. She hurried home from work that night, and as soon as she arrived, she found that pretty snake she'd taken in had been fully revived. Take me in, O tender woman, take me in for heaven's sake.
What the heck
take
is
me in, O
this?
tender woman, sighed that vicious snake.
Oh,
She
I see
clutched him
BPCL.
to her bosom. You're so beautiful, she cried, but if I hadn't brought you in by now, you truly would have died. She stroked his pretty skin again and kissed him and held him tight, but instead of saying thank you, the snake gave her a vicious bite.
What the
me in, O
heck
tender
is
woman,
this?
take me
It's
in for heaven's
fascist
sake.
poetry?
Take me in, O tender woman, sighed the vicious snake. I saved you, cried the woman, and you've bitten me, but why? You know your bite is poisonous, and now I'm going to die. Shut up, silly woman, said the reptile with a grin. You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in.
What?
That's the way it is. That's the way it is.
The frog, Sportsman and the Frog Tail?
That's the way it is. We're taking in killers. We're taking in all of these horrible people. Good people are coming.
Oh, boy. Yikes. Was that the analogy he was trying to do? Yikes. I didn't get the snake story. Where's that from? I don't know, but it's, he ended it with saying like, yeah, this is therefore, therefore, this is why you shouldn't take these brown people in, because they're like killers and they're snakes and they're coming with the pretense of a facade or whatever, and they'll kill you. They're going to be the death of this country. That's what that is. They're going to be the death of this country.
But horrible, horrible people. Again, remember that term. They're emptying their prisons. And, you know, if you were heading those countries.
How do you know that?
Guatemala.
Wait, how do you... That's not true. Wait, that's not even true. Like, no country is just randomly emptying out their prisons. Where's the source on this? Second of all, the fact that he's like... The fact that he's making an analogy to immigrants as snakes who are trying to enter the bosom of America to destroy, like, holy yikes. Right, all of the entirety of Central and South America got just Thanos snapped all prisons and everybody was told to come here. What a fucking clown.
Honduras, El Salvador, and many others, including Middle Eastern countries, by the way.
Oh yeah,
That's
now
how they come in. Remember
yeah,
snake.
the Middle Eastern
In the
countries.
Republican
Yeah.
Party, we do not-
Somehow we're trying to make this like weird connection between like somehow there's Middle Eastern countries making people come through the southern border. I mean, it's okay.
not believe that violent criminals should be welcomed into our country with open arms. We believe that they should be promptly deported or put behind bars, and that's what I did during my administration at a level that nobody's ever seen.
Never seen a liar as
The
amazingly
radical left
prolific as
Democrats
Trump.
are doing everything possible to put your family in grave danger. I don't know if they're doing it out of naivete or are they doing it because they think it's really good to have all these people coming into our country.
Yeah, I
But
don't
they
think-
are putting
I
your
don't know.
family into a very, very bad position, releasing criminal aliens.
Who's your family? Who's your family? He might just be running for a major fundraising op for Congress. Not sure he runs. I don't know if he's gonna run himself. I'm on the fence. I think he might, but I'm on the fence on that.
Defunding the police, abolishing cash bail. Look at New York, what's happened to our poor New York. Crime is through the roof. Never been anything like it. Murders through the roof.
Okay, crime is up in all cities? Oh, okay. Crime is up in Miami. There's been a string of uptick in crime, in violent crime, in the metropolitan area in Miami, which is run by a Republican, if I'm correct. Okay.
The police are doing so much, but they're not given authority to do anything more. They want to solve the problem. New York, Chicago,
What does that mean?
Los Angeles, they have great police forces. They're not allowed to do their job, and now they're all leaving. That's going to be a real problem when they realize we need them to help us, and they're not going to be there any longer. They all try and take away your guns, and that's what they're doing. And if you remember, when I was campaigning against Joe Biden, they said they're going to take away your guns, your second.
Which policy is doing that again? Can you point to a policy that actually says that?
Second Amendment is under siege, and Chicago, which is the single most dangerous city, large scale, has the strongest gun laws in the country. They even say the strongest gun laws in the world, and yet people are being shot by the thousands every year.
The strongest gun laws in the world. Okie dokie. Yeah, you guys have concealed carry. Yeah, true. That's right, Jesse.
Worse than Afghanistan. How about that? Worse than Afghanistan, where, by the way, I started the process. All the troops are coming back home. They couldn't stop the process. 21 years is enough, don't we think? 21 years. They couldn't stop the process. They wanted to, but it was very tough to stop the process when other things are out. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It's a shame. 21 years by a government that wouldn't last. The only way they last is if we're there. What are we going to say? We'll stay for another 21 years?
That's right, Chad Bureaucrat.
The whole thing is ridiculous. So we're bringing our troops back home from Iraq. We're bringing the troops back home from Afghanistan. We brought them back home from Syria. Remember the thousands of troops we had on the border with Syria? Remember that? We had thousands of troops between Turkey and Syria. I say, wait a minute. This border's been here for 1,000 years plus. We never did anything. Now why are we doing it? Sir, you can't do it. It'll be war. It'll be war. I said, our troops are in grave danger. You have two armies, and you have our troops in the middle. So I started bringing them home. And then we got down to 54 troops. And I said to one of the generals, who was a good general, he wasn't a woke general. Do you notice the woke generals we have? This was a real general. I said, we have 54 men from 5,000. We have 54 men on the border. Are they in danger? I said, sir, you have 54 men between two armies. They don't have a chance.
Question. Was any general replaced under the Biden administration? And if so, didn't Trump then have woke generals?
They're going to be target practice. I said, get him the hell out. And everybody said, what a terrible thing he did. And you know what? That was 3 years ago, and nothing happened. They protect their own border. Pretty amazing, right? Pretty amazing, but you'll never hear that from the fake news. Or many other things that turned out to be right. If you care about the security of your family, if you care about the safety of your community, if you care about law and order. Law and order in the great state of Ohio. Now, you do. I met a lot of your law enforcement people outside. They're like incredible people. They're patriots. They're patriots. One of them came out.
Law and
I
Auto.
shouldn't say this, but, you know, look, I met so many. But one of them came out, there's tears in his eyes. This guy hasn't cried in a very long time. But just in meeting, because I represent what they want. They want law and they want order. And that's what you want. That's what this country wants.
If you're so interested in law and order, I imagine that you would be completely fine with the investigation that's going on into your organization, right? Law and order?
So you have to deliver massive majorities for Republicans in Congress next year. You have to do it. Right here in Ohio's 16th congressional district, you have the opportunity to elect an incredible patriot to Congress who I know very well. He grew up in this area. Believe it or not, he's not a carpetbagger like so many. A lot of them say, sir, I'm running for Congress. Oh, good. How long have you lived there? Well, actually, I moved there last week. I saw an opening. Max Miller. You know Max? Great guy. He loves our country. He loves the people of Ohio. And Max was I know they're good ones. But we had some really great people. And Max was one of them. He did a fantastic job. He helped me with North Korea negotiation. And we did so much for Israel and Iraq and the G7, G20.
Yeah, I know.
It's part of... This guy would finish it. But now he's going back to the Iran deal, which is going to destroy Israel. Or there's going to be a big war, more likely. In Congress, Max will be tough on illegal immigration.
No evidence of that, considering that we did have that deal going on, and none of that happened. None of that actually happened.
We'll be strong on crime, as strong as you can get. He will stand up to China, and he will protect Ohio jobs just like I did. Remember in Lima, do you remember they were going to close your tank plant? and I was president-elect. I didn't know anything about the tank plant, but I heard through a great gentleman. Did anybody ever hear of a man named Jim Jordan? Tremendous athlete, tremendous wrestler. All these wrestlers, they wanted to wrestle Jim, and they got their ass kicked every time. He hasn't changed, but Jim told me about. Jim's here, by the way, so I'll introduce him in a couple of minutes. But they wanted to close the tank plant, and I went to see it, Lima. I went to see it, and I couldn't believe it. Big, massive plant. The people that work there were so talented. They have the turrets. I mean, the only thing you know about tanks is Dukakis, right, where he walked with the helmet. He wouldn't have looked good in this tank either. But you know, I see these tanks, and I said to the guys, who's going to make these? This is the only place in the country that made tanks, so I guess that means we're going to have to buy them from China. I said, so who's going to do this if you close this great facility? The talent was incredible. The ball bearings that they made, every single one with love and with care, and that turret, you could flip it with your finger practically. It was just incredible technology. I said, who's going to make our tanks? And I ended that order. It was a stupid order. I ended it. And we now have that plant working overtime, making tanks and tanks and tanks.
Wait. Don't we have, like, a bunch of, like, tanks sitting out rusting because we have an overproduction of tanks? The military is literally telling us that we don't need no more tanks. I don't think this... Okay. That's right, thinking Sabercat. Thanks for the follow, Frank Rugged Guy. Appreciate that.
And if we didn't, I mean, you wouldn't have a tank. And believe it or not, tanks are very important. Max's opponent is a guy named Anthony Gonzalez, who's bad news. He's a grandstanding rhino, not respected in D.C., who voted for the unhinged, unconstitutional, illegal impeachment witch hunt, the witch hunt. You know, this guy used to call me, and my people in the office would say, do you know somebody named Gonzalez? I said, no. He's a congressman from Ohio. Said,
yeah, we made 100% more tanks than we needed.
Ohio, Air Force One, because I was coming to Ohio. I came to Ohio a lot, okay? I feel very comfortable. I used to work in Ohio. I used to work in Cincinnati, Ohio. I love it. The Queen City, Cincinnati. But he wanted to know if he could fly on Air Force One.
Interesting.
You know, with all the people in Congress, I think he was just about the only guy.
50% of tank construction moved to Turkey under Trump. So much for American jobs.
And I didn't hear much good, but I said, what the hell he's asking? So let him ride. You know, it holds like 400 people, so you put a guy in a seat, right? And I didn't get to know him too well, but I'd see him on the plane, and then I'd see him go back, and then I'd be going 3 months later, and he'd call again. Could I go to Ohio on Air Force One? I'd put him on the plane, I'd put him back.
They cheer leaving Afghanistan and cheer more about being tanks built. Yeah, you can't make this up.
He was impeaching me. I don't know. That's not the reason I'm doing this, but I just thought it's a character trait that was not so good. Not so good. Now, he's a sellout, he's a fake Republican, and a disgrace to your state. I will tell you that. And he's not the candidate that you want representing the Republican Party. He's the candidate of Liz Cheney. That's another beauty. Liz Cheney. Mitt Romney. You notice? The Democrats have horrible policy, right? Defund the police, open borders, sanctuary cities, all of the cancel culture.
What? Wait. Wait. Which policies are those again? Which law? Can you point to a legislature?
Let's cancel out George Washington. You see that? They're after George Washington now. I said, I did say 2 years ago, they may go there. If you're not strong, they're going to go there. But he's a candidate. He likes Liz Cheney, Mitt Romney, Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden. Earlier this year, Gonzalez voted to grant amnesty to illegal aliens, okay? I thought we were trying to go the opposite way so that we can have our country back and have our borders back. He voted to keep our troops bogged down in Syria, and I got him out. We didn't listen to him too much. Not too many people do. And after he voted for impeachment, the Ohio GOP censured Gonzalez and remanded him to you know where. But they demanded that he resign and resign immediately.
Wait. You can't just complain about cancel culture and then in the same sentence say that because of a dissenting opinion, you no longer will have the party backing, right? Because of a dissenting opinion, now you're not allowed to be in the party leadership or wherever he was kicked out. Right? If you get censured for having the same thing happened to Liz Cheney, right? Like, wait, you have a dissenting opinion, right? Or voted in a dissenting opinion, I suppose. And then you censure that person. Got you.
And he's still hanging in there, you know? Every single Republican needs to vote him out of office and nominate and vote for a really great guy, Max Miller, a passion. He's got a passion for this country like you wouldn't believe. Max, come on up and say hello. This is your territory, Max. Max Miller.
All right, let's hear it for the 45th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. That's right. And come 2024, we're going to get him elected for the third time.
That's right.
Right.
Wait. Wait, hold on. We almost missed that. Did he say he's gonna get elected for the third time? Wait.
All right, let's hear it for the 45th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. That's right. And come 2024, we're going to get him elected for the third time.
Nope. That's not what happened.
That's right. This guy.
Nope.
There is no greater fighter that this country has ever had, and I have never had a greater role model than President Donald J. Trump. Period.
Yikes.
Bar none. I need all of your help to get Rhino, Turncoat Tony out of office, and to help put an America First conservative into office for the 16th.
Wait. Hold on. Turncoat Tony. And second of all, why would you have this guy? So like your role model is like a perpetual and habitual liar and con man? Thief? Yikes. Probably, yes. And there's some allegations against him in terms of like sexual assault. I mean, is this your role model? I don't know.
District. God bless you all. God bless President Trump. Thank you.
Thank you, Max. Great guy. I can tell you he's a great guy. Also with us, another outstanding candidate for Congress. He's right now, I just saw a poll. Max is doing great, and he's doing great. And his race is very soon. He's filling a seat.
I feel like there could be
There's
better
12
role
candidates,
models,
and we
right?
endorsed him a couple of weeks ago, and now he's leading by a lot. And he's a wonderful man. I've known him for a long time. Mike Carey. Mike, where are you, Mike? Where's Mike? Come here, Mike. Come here. Don't keep him low,
Hey,
Mike.
Brian, how's it going?
So August 3rd, right, Mike? August 3rd you're running, right? So that's sooner than Max. Mike, you got to win, Mike.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank all of you. With his endorsement, the America First agenda, we are now leading by double digits. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank all of you, and God bless America.
Thank you, Mike. He's doing a fantastic job. He had a tremendous career, and he's now doing this, and he's going to be a big winner. Both of these people. This is what we need. We're also thrilled to be joined by a person who's actually loved. You don't necessarily hear that, but she's loved and respected, and she's tough and smart and kind. And she's got such great common sense.
I suppose you're right.
Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. Where is she? She's a fighter. She's a fighter. And another one, we just mentioned his name, but I'll mention it again. Come up here, Jim Jordan. Come up, Jim Jordan. This guy, you are so lucky to have him in Ohio. That's all I can say.
Yeah, there's a problem with the video. Jim Shorts Jordan.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. They've already heard from me. They want to hear from you. Mostly what they want is for you to run in 2024 and go back to the White House. Thank you all very much.
Dang, yikes. This really makes me think this guy's gonna actually do it. This guy might actually run.
You know, some of the congressmen and senators, Capitol Hill, they said, you got to see this guy working out. You know, they work out. They're not in good shape. They never were. They were never athletes or anything. And he was a champion, NCAA champ. He was one of the greats. And he works out. And they say, you wouldn't believe this guy. He burns out the machines. The machines are catching. They're like burning out. They're smoking. But, you know, the reason he never wears a jacket? Because he's in great shape. Okay? He's in great shape. I say, Jimmy, you ever wear a jacket? No, he feels comfortable this way. Me, I'd rather wear a jacket. Most of you, I think, would rather wear a jacket. But he's a great person. He's tough and he's smart.
Is that an admission that you're not in shape?
And he's incredible. So thank you both. And Marjorie, thank you very much for being here. We appreciate it. Thank you. North Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, who's been terrific. Where's Kristi? Thank you, Kristi. Doing a great
Yeah,
job.
outstanding, folks.
You know, Kristi called me 2 years ago. She said, sir, do you think we could have fireworks at the magnificent, you know those magnificent faces? I love those faces. Do you think my face will ever be that or not? They all said.
Got good funding, nice
Let's leave it the way
studio.
it is.
Wait, who?
But she called, could we have fireworks, right? And I said, what's the problem? They won't approve it, the Democrats. They wouldn't.
By the
for
way,
years and years.
how's it going,
I said,
Ryan?
is there anything
Hope
they
you're
can
doing
burn?
all right.
No, you know, stone. I said, what's the problem? They just won't give it. So we gave it, and we had a night to remember, right?
Oh,
Remember
Crowder.
something?
Oh,
And the
sometimes
Democrats just
gifting is
announced
just
that
the
they're
blood
canceling
and
it.
just the blood. I'm still
South
shocked that
Dakota,
Crowder
they're
was a voice
canceling it.
actor on
I don't know.
Arthur. What?
They're canceling it.
I didn't
So
know
you have some
that.
other alternatives, but nothing could be like those nights, right? Nothing could be like those nights. It was so beautiful. It
Oh,
was so
okay,
beautiful.
I'm just making
And
sure.
they will not cancel that particular slab that is so beautiful, so incredible. You know, they were talking about, let's take it down. No, they're not gonna. They're talking about Thomas Jefferson. They want to take it down. We stopped that. We stopped that. But these people, They're sickos. There's no question about it. There's a lot of sickness there. So, Christy, thank you very much for being here. We appreciate it. And we'll get the fireworks back. We'll get those fireworks back. Okay? Great Mount Rushmore. County Commissioners, Michelle Hung and David Moore, and my friend JJ and Jen Cafaro. Great people. They're great. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, JJ, for being here. Thank you. Over the years, our movement achieved more than anyone thought possible. There's never been anything like it.
It's the classic Trump response.
Massive regulation cuts, which I think were even more important than tax cuts in terms of the economy. That's what gave us that incredible base that they're destroying slowly, but it was so strong that it has some momentum. Regulation cuts, again, nobody's ever seen anything and achieved American energy independence, which by next month will be gone. We'll be buying our oil from the Middle East again, and we'll be buying it from Russia. Remember Russia, Russia, Russia?
What?
We ended decades of disastrous trade deals, withdrawing from the terrible Trans-Pacific Partnership.
Has the United States ever made like a trade deal in regards to oil with Russia? What?
Would have destroyed your businesses in Ohio and elsewhere. Replacing the NAFTA catastrophe with the brand new and unbelievably successful. You know why I knew it was good? Because Canada didn't want it. Canada didn't want it. Mexico didn't want it either. President of Mexico, by the way, great person, great man, great guy, doing a good job. But we did the USMCA, defending Ohio steelworkers and standing up to China like never before. You wouldn't have a steel industry if I didn't do what we did. You would not have. They were dumping steel all over the place, including making them pay tens of billions of dollars for the privilege of doing business in the USA. They have to pay they never gave us 10 cents. And now they're paying tens of billions, but Biden wants to end that. You want to see China take off? Take off those tariffs, okay? Take off the taxes that we charge them. When the virus arrived, we produced 3 vaccines in record time. They said it would take 3 years to 5 years. We got it done in less than 9 months. Record time. And we launched the fastest economic recovery anyone has ever seen. We really built the economy twice, if you think about it. We built it twice. We set Joe Biden up so beautifully. All he had to do is go to the beach, Joe. Go to the beach. Would have been so good. Instead, Biden is going to drive our economy and our country into ruin. Biden canceled the American Keystone XL pipeline and its 48,000 jobs for American workers.
No.
But he approved the Russian pipeline to Europe. That's great. Remember they said, oh, Trump isn't tough on Russia. Really? I stopped the pipeline to Europe.
What? I wasn't aware that Trump had, like, powers over foreign policy like that. I wasn't aware that he had superpowers. That he was able to curb. Oh yes, I did see this. I just posted it in chat because we have to get through this as quickly as possible. So in case you guys want some numbers, I'll post it in chat. I think Trump is looking at Ben Garrison comics as if they were news stories.
I sanctioned them all over the place, and I had a good relationship with Putin, but that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. You know, that's not bad. View that as good. And frankly, I had a great relationship also with President Xi.
Yeah, I know.
I hit with the virus, and then I couldn't look at him quite the same way, right? You can understand that. And we made a great trade deal that's helping the manufacturers and the farmers like never before. Farmers have never done better because China is living up to that trade deal because they really sort of have to. It's a tough deal, and we got it done, and a lot of people are benefiting. And if you look at North Korea, right? Kim Jong-un, all of a sudden he's talking not nice, and he was talking very nice. I get along with him. I get along with everybody eventually.
I get along with all the authoritarian autocrats.
But, you know, getting along with these people, that's a good thing. Remember, President Obama said we're going to war with North Korea. He said it's virtually inevitable. We didn't go to war with North Korea. We didn't go to war. And
that's not what Obama said.
9,000 miles away. We didn't want to go. But we did a good job, and the relationship that I have with him, even to this day, is a very good relationship. And that is a good thing. And there are some I don't like, too. Some of them that take advantage of us that you wouldn't even think. Canada was very tough on the United States in trade for a long time until we came along. Other countries in Europe, take a look at what they do. We protect them militarily, but they're very, very tough on us in trade. How many Chevrolets are sold in Berlin? I asked. And they said, oh, we don't believe any. I said, that's exactly right. No, countries that you wouldn't think, they take advantage of us like you wouldn't believe. But Biden re-entered the job-killing Paris Climate Accord, which will devastate Ohio oil and gas, devastate and close large numbers of countries. It's trillions of dollars of damage is going to be done. I ended it, and I couldn't believe it. I said, this is going to be a tough day, because it's such a nice name. The Paris
that wasn't even a popular point, barely a clap true. So M-Dog, I mean, like, do you just like consistently being lied to? Do you like consistently being lied to? I don't know. It seems like kind of cringe. Also, the Paris Agreement doesn't just like instantly end jobs like that. The Paris Agreement just says we promise to do X, Y, or Z. That didn't happen. None of those things happened, right? None of those things actually ended up happening. That was the problem. And like he's crying about all these quote-unquote jobs and like the economic like devastation that this Paris Agreement would bring and all this other stuff. We just went over an article. We're just in a single section of Houston. In a single section of Houston to deal with climate change. they're gonna have to pay $26 billion. That's right, thinking Sabercat.
Immediately back without even negotiating, just the same horrible deal. You know, China doesn't kick in for many years. Russia doesn't kick in. India doesn't kick in, but we kick in. He's pushing trillions of dollars in new spending and the largest tax hike in history. He's putting onto the American people and American industry. It's going to be devastating. He puts America last. We put America first. It's very simple.
You know, it's funny
Very, very
because
simple.
like I know a very interesting figure that consistently talks about America first. I believe his name is Nick Fuentes. Just saying.
And we rebuilt our military, and we did so much. We did so much. Even right to
Nope.
try, I always mention, you know, many people are being saved with right to try. The FDA is slow as hell. I wouldn't say they love me too much. I push them very hard. But now if people are dying,
Isn't the military expanded under the Biden administration, at least their funding?
they're terminally ill. Instead of going to Asia, to Europe, to other countries to try and live, which was not very successful, because we have the greatest doctors, scientists, and labs in the world. Now, if somebody's terminally ill, and we have a cure that we think could be worked out good, but it's going to take 4 years, 5 years, they sign a document, and they go and they take this new medication, whatever it may be, and it's been unbelievably successful. They've been trying to get it approved for 45 years. We got it approved, but many, many things. What we've done for the vets, we had a 92% approval rating with the vets. 92%. Nobody's ever had a rating like that. We turned it all around. Under our administration, America was respected again. We were respected by other countries. You don't have these things that we already talked about. You wouldn't have had them go on if the election were not rigged. You wouldn't have that
What?
happening.
Wait, hold on. First of all, the election wasn't rigged. Hard stop. Second of all, wasn't there like multiple clips of like, you know, leaders in the UN and EU and all these other world leaders from the West like laughing at him? Laughing at us?
They wouldn't be shooting thousands of missiles into Israel and all of the other things that we talk about, and many that we're not going to talk about because we don't have 3 nights. We have one
That had nothing to do with us? What?
beautiful night. It's windy as hell up here, I will tell you that, but it's beautiful. I brought this hat along just in case. Here. Just in case. I brought a jet, but it is windy as hell up here. We stood up to the enemies of America. We withdrew from the Iran nuclear deal, which was tremendous. Remember all the money, $150 billion and $1.8 billion in cash. $1.8 billion. Think of that crazy deal. And now he wants to make it again. We would have had a deal done with Iran.
Because it was working?
In 1 week. Had the election not been rigged and stolen. 1 week. It would have been done.
It
And other things
wasn't
would have been done too. We were set
rigged? And... oh, okay.
up so beautifully, and now all of it's going down the tubes because they don't know what the hell they're doing. We wiped
He's
out
terrified
ISIS,
of his
remember that?
comb over
ISIS,
flying in the
remember?
wind.
ISIS was taking over all over the Middle East. With the real generals, we wiped out ISIS. We knocked them out. We killed
Can somebody fact check me? Has any general really been replaced under the Biden administration? Because it would seem very bizarre if like the moment a new administration takes over that like generals are switched. So like Schrodinger's generals? What? I mean, like, I think they choose chief of staffs, but nobody cares about Trump anymore. Thank you. Yeah, Joint Chief. I thought that that's all, like, what he has access to. Yes, that's right, thinking Sabercat. That's why I made that comment. The president doesn't control the rank and files. Yeah, so like, so wait a minute. So under his own, by his own like logic, then his generals weren't real generals. His generals were the woke generals. Wait, wait.
al-Baghdadi, the founder of ISIS, who was trying to build it again. And
Al-Baghdadi is
Qasem
not the
Soleimani,
founder of ISIS.
Gone. He is the father of the roadside bomb that killed so many of our soldiers. He's gone.
What?
He's gone. He was killed. We fully rebuilt the United States military, created Space Force. Everybody laughed. Everybody laughed.
Everybody's still
Remember when,
laughing.
the press secretary with the extremely red hair, remember what she said? She laughed at when Space Force was mentioned. She laughed. Remember that? And she got decimated by everybody when she laughed because we need Space Force. You know, Russia's up there, big league. and China's up there
Bigly.
bigly, and we were just sitting around watching them, and now we have overtaken them in space. It's great. It's great. Already, during my term. But they'll blow that. We got our allies to pay their fair share when it came to our defending them and NATO. I got $430 billion from them. They weren't paying. I said to other countries, nice countries, but why should they pay if we're not asking? I said, you're delinquent, like a real estate deal. You're delinquent. They said, would you leave if we don't pay? I said, yes, because I have to say that. If I said no, they're not going to pay, right? We got $430 billion. We were paying, in my opinion, close to 100% of the defense of European nations who, excuse the language, screw us on trade. So they take advantage of us on trade, and we defend them for nothing.
What does
in the
that
case
mean?
of Germany, Germany pays Russia billions and billions of dollars for the pipeline. And yet, we defend them against Russia. I said to Angela, who I like a lot, actually. I get along with her actually good. I got along with her very good, but she's tough, and she's smart, and she takes advantage of the United States. I said, so Angela, we defend you from a country
The
that you're giving
Netflix
billions
series
and
is
billions
better.
of dollars to a month. How does that work, Angela? And she just smiled. She just smiled. She knows. We recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, and at the same time recognize Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. So we're working on that
Fine.
for 54 years.
The Piggly Wiggly loves Wigs
And we made
Biggly.
historic peace deals in the Middle East that nobody thought were even possible. And frankly, we were there. I think we'd have it totally wrapped up, but I don't see any signs of progress with these people. In fact, they want to go back to negotiating with Iran. It's just not even believable. But now Joe Biden is squandering all of this hard-earned respect that we have or had, bowing down to America's enemies
Dead.
and embarrassing our country on the world stage. You saw that. It was an embarrassment. And yet the fake news said, he reminded
Otter.
me of FDR. I'll never forget it. I watched the semi-State of the Union. It was sort of a weird State of the Union. Nancy Pelosi had the single largest mask I've ever seen on a human being. It's the biggest. She had a mask that went up to here. I don't know if it was 3 masks or 1, but it was the biggest mask I've ever seen.
And?
But I'll never forget, I watched, and I said, that's sad. I said, he's going to be killed by the media. Then I turned on to fake news CNN and MSDNC, and they said,
Wait, so
Fox hasn't been so great either, have they? Huh?
does anybody like know or
they
just
said-
just to clarify for like the person who came in here earlier, has it kind of like gotten into your head that isn't it odd that he never really points to any specific like things in terms of like policies or anything like that? He just vaguely makes mentions of things. He just makes mentions of their appearance, like ad hominems, about like how Nancy Pelosi was wearing the biggest mask he's quote unquote ever seen. Never saying, oh, I don't agree with Joe Biden's plan for X, Y, and Z. I think it will damage the American people for this reason, and this is what backs that up in terms of like economic evidence. My plan, if I was the one that was doing it, I would deploy X, Y, or Z, because in my belief, I have like nothing, absolutely nothing. He's got nothing, not one.
I thought he was just going to get, it was a terrible evening. And honestly, if
Like
I do
you
bad
wouldn't
speeches,
believe.
I do bad- that's okay. But I don't do bad speeches, do I? I don't think so. No. Actually, my best speeches, I get the best reviews when I don't use these suckers, they're too easy. Especially when they're blowing in the wind. Great job, fellas, by the way. You really made them nice. I got this teleprompter that's waving like the American flag, probably. Great job. Great. Sometimes you have no choice to just wing it. You have to wing it because you have a teleprompter that's moving so rapidly.
Yeah, I love the kid that's falling asleep in the back.
I watched this speech that he made, and I said, man, he's going to get just decimated. This thing is a disaster.
So cute.
Turned on to a couple of the competing networks, call them, and they're saying, not since
Pupper.
FDR has there been a speech like this. FDR I thought he had a magnificent presence, right? He would sit up there.
Beans.
And his voice was beautiful and booming and elegant. And you remember so many of his phrases, right? The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. It was said so beautiful. Think of that, the way it was said. You always remember it. You can't forget it. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Okay. And they were comparing Biden to FDR. They are fake. They are so fake and so pathetic. And there's so many of them up there. There's so many of them.
All right, fine. Listen.
And they're hurting our country very badly. Honestly, they're hurting our country because they're not real. They're not real.
Listen. Hold on. I'll give him this point.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Huh? What are they chanting? I'll give him this point. Comparing Biden to FDR was kind of nonsense. That's right. Aw, I think ferrets are cute. Come on. Come on, man.
Are we having a good time, by the way? The subject matter is somewhat depressing, in all fairness, because what happened to us on November 3rd should never, ever happen again, should never be allowed to happen again. Biden and the Democrats are weak on China, weak on Iran, weak on trade, weak on the economy, and weak on everything else, except for weaponizing law enforcement to go after Republicans, right? That's the only thing they're strong on. Shortly after taking office, Joe Biden even canceled the U.S. government investigation into the origins of the virus in a China lab. Do you remember when I said it comes out of Wuhan, it comes out of the lab? They went crazy. Now they're saying most likely it came out of the Wuhan lab. Unlike Biden, I
No.
believe that China owes the world and the United States trillions and trillions of dollars, and they have
What they said was, we're not sure. Further data is required.
to pay. They have to pay. And as you can see, and you've seen over the last 3 weeks, the media and the Democrats are now admitting that I was right about everything. You know, the election's over. No, we won the election anyway, but the election's over. Say they don't care. They don't care. Now they're saying, well, you know, he was right about these things. That's all right. Big deal, right? Big deal. They lied about so many things before the election, and it's not only what they said, it's also what they didn't say. Like,
No, he didn't win the election at all. And second of all, it's really interesting how now he's like all of a sudden very, very, very in favor of reparations.
Hunter? Remember, where's Hunter? Where's Hunter? The
Where's
virus came from
Hunter?
a Chinese lab.
No,
Hydroxychloroquine
that's not true.
actually works. Remember? Remember?
That's also not true.
I made a mistake on hydroxy. I should have said, hydroxychloroquine is a disaster. Please do not use it. They would have said. Instead, I said it works. And now reports are coming out that it works. They probably destroyed a lot of lives. Hunter Biden's laptop was real. That was an easy one, wasn't it? Lafayette Square was not cleared.
Okay, so the thing with hydroxychloroquine is that it worked in like anecdotal circumstances, so they can't really like make the case that this is a good treatment for coronavirus, because like just because it worked in a handful of situations doesn't mean it's like a widespread like treatment. It's not. It just happened to coincidentally work with a few handful of cases. Other than that, like we can't confirm that. We did studies on this. There's a reason why we're not using hydroxychloroquine across the board. There's a reason for that.
For a photo op, it wasn't. You know, they tried to burn down the church the day before. We got lucky to stop them. They tried. The basement was on fire. The Russian bounty
That's right.
story was
Oh,
a total
I'm
fake.
sorry. I'm sorry. Hold on. Fact check. It works, but you have to drink the bleach along with it. That's right.
Like these guys. Look, the cameras are starting to go off. Oh, the cameras are going off. I better speak fast. Those cameras are going off. They don't like this. They don't like this speech. You know, you have the nice red light at the beginning of the camera. That thing was lit up. All of a sudden, those suckers.
I thought he didn't care about the fake news. Why does he care? Do you see how like this like constantly contradicting himself? Like, is either the media is the fake news, or why do you care so much about it? Second of all, the reason why they're cutting away is because you're talking about election fraud that didn't happen. You're consistently pointing out the You're consistently pointing out that you won the election when indeed you did not.
Are off so fast. Don't worry, they'll go back. You know why they go back? Because they get great ratings when we do these things. They'll go back. They'll wait till this section is over. They don't want to talk about certain things. You know what they especially don't want to talk about? The election of 2020. Because
Right.
it's just
Because
too easy,
it's
too close to home.
nonsense.
The first vaccine was known to be effective before the election.
Oh my god, this is so dystopic. This is so dystopic. Does anybody else find this kind of weird and chilling?
Remember when they wouldn't report that the vaccine was effective before the election? Right after the election, oh, the big vaccine story, it was the greatest thing ever. But before, they wouldn't report it. They wouldn't report it. Blue state lockdowns don't work. They didn't want to talk about it. And our children should be back in school. They don't want to talk about that either. We were also
That's
right about Joe
not
Biden and the
true.
Democrats' extremism on open borders, on socialism, on taxes.
What? Yeah, it is depressingly scary. I mean, like, these people are just like a mob chanting along. Yes, yes, yes. Whatever you say, Donald Trump. Kind of weird. It's very dystopic. Very dystopic. Yeah, if Trump doesn't get into power. Also, again, for the folks, my neighbor's all cute crazy, it's extremely disturbing. Yikes. Yeah, for the folk that came in here earlier, does this sound natural? Do the delusions, alternate realities that this person lives in, is that really your guy? Trump 2024? Really? That guy?
On energy, on the Green New Deal hoax. That's the next hoax.
Also, I'm still waiting for him to provide the legislature or piece of legislation that does do quote-unquote open borders or quote-unquote socialism.
You know, you have the crime of the century, which I consider to be the election of 2020. I consider that, because you look at all the people that are dying on the border, you look at all of the bad things that are happening to our country, I consider it to be the crime of the century. But the Green New Deal is a crime. because it's a total con job. Everybody knew this during the campaign, but the fake
Oh yeah, that's rich coming from one of the most notorious con persons. That's rich.
news media refuse to talk about it because they will say and do anything to destroy our great MAGA movement, which is a movement based on strength and peace and law and order. And above all else, it's a movement based on common sense.
Wait. Wait. Wait, 1 second. One second. You mean this one?
Investigators say the man swinging that
You mean
flagpole
this one?
in the red jacket is a former Marine and a retired New York City police
that one?
officer. He's seen rushing police and tackling an officer to the ground.
Is that not your
facing
name?
Assaulting police, unlawfully entering
On those
Capitol
flags?
grounds with a dangerous weapon, and civil disorder.
Common sense. There's never been a movement like it. There has never been. You know, over the years, I've seen people, if they did fairly well in a primary 30 years
That's
ago,
right,
they become
Alio.
stars fairly well. We won the election twice.
Nope.
And it's possible we'll have to win it a third time. It's
Nope. So there he's signaling. Hold on. That's a potential giveaway. He might actually run, folks. Just saying. He might actually run. Aww.
You know, a certain reporter said to me, not on our side, this is a very liberal person, but sort of an honest person, said to me, you know, I've been covering elections for a long time. Long time. I've never seen anything like the election of 2020. You had 58 rallies. The average crowd had to be 25, 30. Look at tonight. I mean, look at this. This is not even election territory, other than you got to get Mike and Max in there, and Max is going to be in a little while longer. Mike, don't forget, August 3rd. But think of it. He said, I've never seen anything like it, where you'd have a rally some days on 1 day notice, and you'd have 30, 40, 50,000. Butler, Pennsylvania, 58,000 people in a couple of days, right? And we're up by so much, and then the next day they say, Trump lost Pennsylvania. Not possible, right? Not possible. We had 58,000 people in a beautiful, small community in Pennsylvania show up on a couple of days' notice, right? Showed up. And then they say, like, Biden's coming to town. And they have 8 circles, right? And they can't fill them. So they go back and they get the fake news. Could you please stand in a circle? And they get reporters to stand in the...
Elections aren't determined by your rally crowds. You absolute moron.
And then they say, Trump lost Pennsylvania. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think all you have to do is look at every stat, and it's all coming out.
Oh, you
now,
don't think so? Hey, what is that saying? Remind me, chat. Facts don't care about... What was it again?
And people are coming forward. People are coming forward like never before. You're seeing what's happening, or you soon will see what's happening. But think of it, 75 million voters. The same reporter said, you know, it was incredible. Whether you're on your side or the other side, we've never seen anything like it. Never seen anything like it. He said, what was the difference between
That's right.
2016 when you won?
That's right. The difference is that there was a unprecedented voter turnout. That's what the difference was.
2020 when you lost, I said. The difference was we did much better the second time. It's true.
That's how many people wanted you out. That's right.
You know, I was told that we got 63 million votes, right? I was told that if we get 65 by the best pollster, one of the great
Trump's
pollsters...
feelings don't care about your measly little facts, true.
He said, sir, if you get 65 million, if you go up 2. Now, most presidents go down. Obama went down. He went down much lower the second time. He got fewer votes the second time, far fewer. And I understand that. That's the way it works. But
because the first 2008 election was also an unprecedented turnout. Wait, do you not, like, understand this? Wait.
We went up 12 million, but I was told if we go up 2 million, we win. We went up 12 million, and we so-called lost, but we didn't lose.
Nope.
We didn't lose.
I think people voted against Trump, not really seem to like Biden. True.
And think of it. 63 million compared to almost 75 million. And don't forget, that's 75 million. What's the real number? With all of the shenanigans, what's the real number? The Socialist Democrats see this better than anyone else. They know exactly what went on, and they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about it. You know, it's interesting. Hillary Clinton can complain about the election. By the way, she is the single most unhappy person in the United States because she said, why didn't you do that for me? Why didn't you create votes for me? Because
nobody created votes for anybody. This is in your delusional world that you are living in, my friend. If you've got some good evidence, we can take a look at it, but case after case after case after case has proven time and time again, no real evidence of any shenanigans. Second of all, again, the definition of insanity is counting the same votes over and over again and expecting a different result.
she said I was much closer.
Yikes, KTS. What do you think is worse? Ooh, I don't
Why
know.
didn't you create her for Hillary Clinton? I do ask that question. Actually, the truth is, we got him by surprise in 2016. And in 2020, they planned for 4 years. They said, this is not going to happen again.
I don't know. If you tattoo, like, your neck is more visible, because at least, listen, at least you can put a shirt and hide that. You know, the and you can hide the tattoo on your back. But on your neck, first of all, that's painful. Second of all, cringe that you would ever think that putting a politician's name on your neck is good, is okay, is beyond me. The Nixon tat is literally Nixon's face though. Yeah, but like, you can make an effort to cover it up with a t-shirt or you know, long sleeve shirt, whatever. That's literally on your neck. Jesus Christ.
They planned it out. Earlier this year, the Biden administration issued new rules pushing twisted critical race theory into classrooms across the nation and also into our military. Our generals and our admirals are now focused more on this nonsense than they are on our enemies. You see these generals lately on television? They are woke. They're woke. Our military will be incapable
They were the same generals that were operating under you.
of fighting and incapable of taking orders. You're going to tell some private, stand up. You stand up right now. I'm not standing up. You can't talk to me that way, General. We're going to have a whole different ballgame here. I don't know how they're going to work that out. The private's going to tell the General, don't you ever speak to me that way, General. I'll kick your ass. That's our military. That's where we're going. Woke. I know some of these guys. Boy, they changed quickly. They went right over to the other side.
Wait, so he just admitted they were the same generals. Holy yikes, this is Schrodinger's, like, military. Schrodinger's generals. Holy crap.
I heard that about a couple of them. The military brass have become weak and ineffective leaders, and our enemies are watching and they're laughing. We need a Republican Congress to ban critical race theory. You know, I had it banned through executive order, and it was fine. And then when we didn't get in, they immediately reinstituted it, but it was all gone. But they have to get it out of our schools, and they have to ban it in our workplaces, and ban it in our states, and ban it in federal agencies, and ban it in our military, maybe most importantly. In addition, if government-run schools are going to teach children to hate our country, and racism, parents must be given the power to opt out of the horrible, horrible schools. They're being forced to send their kids to these schools, and we have to provide school choice, and we were a long way to getting it. The radical left is trying to rip our nation apart, and there is no depth to which they will not sink. You've seen it, and you've seen it strongly. Just can't have it. There's no better example than the election that we talk about so proudly because we did so well. The 2020 presidential election was rigged. We won the election in a landslide. You know it.
That's
I know
right.
it. And you know who else knows it? The fake news knows it. Democrats and their allies in big tech and in the fake news media viciously did everything possible to deny our victory and to delay the count till they could figure out how many votes were needed to drag Joe Biden across the finish line. You know that. Now they censor, conceal, and smear you. If you look into the election today, and I saw
Then
the
you
other day
got
where they were
bingo.
saying, we are going to look into the election. I said, that's great. No, they're not looking into that. They're looking into the people that want the truth. They're
Here
not
you're in
looking into the
jail if you don't
election. The
follow
election
orders.
was
They
the lie.
served
That was
about
the
a
big lie. You know,
year.
they talk
It's
about the big lie.
mandatory.
They
Yeah,
would
that's
say,
right.
while it is totally disproven, you know, every sentence they say, well, it's no.
When he
it's totally
starts chopping it
disproven in the
up.
opposite way. But the big lie is what took place on the evening and the morning.
Yikes.
November 3rd, November 4th.
Anyways, I think that he's just gonna go ramble on about this, I think. The point is, there's no evidence to suggest there's any shenanigans going on with the election. We have still yet to find any of that. They are doing audits yet again for absolutely no reason. Again, my official statement on this is the definition of insanity is counting the same votes over and over and expecting a different result. Also, I'd like to point just how dangerous this type of rhetoric is. This might makes right rhetoric. This country is in crisis, but I alone, Trumpism is the one that has the solutions to everything. That really weird analogy, that poem analogy, attempting to create the other by saying that these immigrants are coming into the bosom of the country to effectively kill it. I mean, like, that is that not the analogy that was trying to be projected there, with the snake being the one that ends up killing the person or something, if I got that correctly. Hey, Miss Nix, how's it going? I don't know. Disturbing stuff.
November 5th. And they know it, and they don't want to talk about it. You ever notice, though, I was going to say, so Hillary Clinton's allowed to talk about it, right? Stacey Abrams, she said she won for governor. By the way, we might have been better if she did win for governor of Georgia, if you want to know the truth. We might have had a better governor if she did win. But Stacey Abrams goes around saying she won the election, nobody says anything. Hillary Clinton says she won the election, nobody says anything. I say we won the election. That's terrible. That's terrible.
Okay, but neither of these people spent 6 months attempting to contest the results. What are you talking about?
Terrible. Isn't it a terrible situation? All these geniuses are running for office, and they're doing good. We're going to introduce them in a couple of seconds, and we're having a good time, and we'll just keep it going. Should we keep it going or get the hell out of here?
Wait, did he do the snake poem? Yes, he did.
For the first time in history, they mass mail tens of millions of absentee ballots and ballot applications to every person on the rolls, dead or alive, legal or illegal, resident or non-resident of our
That's not
country.
true.
They installed millions.
That's not true. If you're that's not true at all. That just didn't happen. If you're a citizen, then yes. If you're on the voter rolls, which you'd have to be a citizen, then yes. But illegal aliens often don't have like data in the system. So how would they get mail-in ballots? Does that even make sense to anybody? It shouldn't, by the way. Buy my book. Makes me laugh the most when a Trump votes vet makes that we're incinerated. Yeah, this is all like so cringe. Yeah. So the snake poem is that, right? The analogy is that we are the country who's the woman who's like letting all these people in and saying, come here. And then the snake being the immigrants, and she got bit. Yikes. In case you guys want the full poem to understand it.
Of dollars worth of illegal unmanned drop boxes. How about these drop boxes where there were 96% for Joe Biden? The vote was 96 for Biden, and some of them showed up very, very late. They say, where are they? Oh, they come the next day. 96% for Biden. And I was told that you could give $5,600.
0 degrees. Thank you for the follow.
But Zuckerberg gave $500 million to all of this stuff. Now, that's legal, right? That's legal? I don't think so. And the whole lockbox scam, that's another thing. That's just one of many things they did. In fact, what happened here is what the State Department used to criticize in communist countries. Illegal use of absentee ballots. They went after them very strongly. Opposition observers ejected. They would take the opposition observers like they did in Detroit. And they did in Atlanta. And they did in Philadelphia.
There's literally,
where you had more votes.
Wait. There's literally footage of the media being right. There's cameras there.
You had voters. Other than that, it was a very good election. But you had more votes than you had voters. Other than that, it was wonderful. But they did a North Korean-style turnout. This is what they talked about. Illegally altered vote tabulation data. All of these things, this is what they used to talk about. These things happened, they said, in Ukraine in 2004. Now, to a large extent.
No, I'm not sure that they're from the DMV database. I'm not sure.
They happen here. We'll prove it. We'll be out there fighting. You have incredible American patriots. You have incredible American patriots. I saw one here. I didn't even know he was coming. Where is Mike? The Pillow Man. Where is he?
The Pillow Man.
I saw him.
Yeah, like the thing is,
Mike Lindell.
He made the connection, the context, by then talking about immigrants, right? That's what triggered the connection right there. He made it immediately. He read the poem and then literally talked about immigrants.
It's amazing. He's out there fighting. He is a patriot, and he's got people fighting with him. They are really
Right.
patriots. And, you know, I think on behalf, look at the crowd. They're going up. I'm not sure that even Jim got as big a hand as you, okay? But they're going up. Look at this crowd going as far as the eye can see, and they're all giving you a standing ovation. So we appreciate it, man. We
All right, we gotta cut it here
But there's
because we got an
mountains, there's
important
but as many,
story
many people will
to
tell
talk
you, including
about.
the gentleman that spoke before you this evening, I understand. And these guys say shut it down. Somebody's going to have to say, why do they want it shut down? 55% of voters support election audits. And again, I want to thank the brave Republican senators in the
Source?
state of Arizona for what they're doing. Illegal drop boxes in America, not China, dominates the future. Washington, D.C., it's not going to happen. Our ancestors are the people that crossed an ocean for the right to live and pray and speak as they saw fit. They are the people who risk everything. They risked everything. Think of what? You're here and you're generally happy, not necessarily 100%.
Yeah, okay, buddy, that's enough. That's enough of that. There is a important story that we have to go through. This is the main event, folks, so strap in. I'm gonna try to get through this. All of a sudden he cares about what the majority of voters support. Yeah, but like, what polls are those? Life on Earth can recover, humans cannot. The UN climate body warns of accelerating impacts in leaked draft report. Devastating climate impacts that will fundamentally change life on this planet are accelerating and set to become clear before a child born today turns 30, according to a leaked draft of the upcoming assessment by the UN's leading climate scientists. Unlivable heat, where do you have that? Ecosystems collapse, we're on our way. Species extinction, on our way. More diseases, and cities buckling under the onslaught of rising seas. We just went over, and I did this on purpose to preface all of this. There's literally just in a tiny section of the country, which is Houston, just a tiny piece of that coast is costing $26 billion. Can we watch a little pimp clip? Oh no, we gotta get through this. This is important, KTS. Consequences noted by the IPCC, draft report obtained by Agence France Presse. Even if still rising greenhouse gases emissions largely caused by burning fossil fuels begin a downward slide, some of these impacts are already baked in. We've talked about this before. Communities must move much faster to prepare, as current levels of adaptation will be inadequate. The IPCC's 4,000-page 6th assessment is expected to be published in portions over the next year, but will not be completely available until early 2022. As world leaders meet at the UN Biodiversity Summit in Kunming, China this October, and the crucial climate summit in Glasgow a month later. All of this will mean absolutely fuck all if nobody decides to do anything about it. Heat waves and cold periods are going to be the norm, and plant life is going to be massively affected, which, by the way, if in case anybody was like already concerned, if we can't successfully grow food and can't successfully grow and obtain water, I should say, grow water, this is going to pave the way for conflict. It's a huge problem. The climate crisis is already bringing significant change to Earth's systems. At present, the average global temperature is 1.1 above the pre-industrial era. The best case scenario on a current trajectory will result in 3 degrees Celsius by 2100. 2100, I'd like to remind people, is less than 100 years. It's about 80 years from now. That isn't a long time in the grand scheme of things. That's within another generation. In other words, your children. I'm just happy to hear that life will likely recover after we go extinct. Oh yeah, life is already ready to adapt. It always has. It's just a matter if we want to adapt and we want to change course. Already Oregon has been hit over 170 and the value is logged at 114 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, so this is already happening. In the 2015 Paris Agreement, signed by almost every nation, and again did absolutely fuck all, pledges to curb temperature rise to well below 2 degrees Celsius and aim for an increasingly ambitious 1.5. Imagine being the 1.5 increasingly ambitious when current trajectory, if we don't change course, is already double that. The World Meteorological Organization reported in May that the world will hit 1.5 degrees Celsius in the next 5 years. That study is, if we don't change course, there is about 40-something% chance that this will happen in the next 5 years. Just saying. The key takeaway, so yes, that the world will hit, it's not defined. This study actually says the World Meteorological Organization reported in May that the world will hit 1.5 degrees Celsius in the next 5 years. If nothing changes, the percentage goes up to 40-something%. That's what that study is referring to, if I'm correct, if I remember it correctly. The key takeaway of the IPCC draft, according to the AFP, the danger of crossing thresholds known as tipping points, which scientists are only beginning to understand. The IPCC assessment highlights a dozen temperature tripwires in the climate system that could cascade into potentially devastating change. At 2 degrees Celsius, the melting of Greenland, the West Antarctic ice sheet could become irreversible. They hold enough water to raise sea levels about 43 feet. See how amazing the survival of life. Google snowball Earth, where 99.9% of all life was extinction. Yikes. Yeah, that's right. We're only at 1. Further destruction of the Amazon, which one study shows has already flipped and emits more carbon pollution than it stores, could see its transformation into a savanna, which is a huge problem. That in and of itself has multiple domino effects that could impact us and accelerate this. In Siberia, the rapid thawing of vast carbon-rich underground layers of ice and frozen dirt called the permafrost is causing the region to warm faster than anywhere else on Earth, spewing billions of tons of CO2 into the atmosphere. Life on Earth can recover from a drastic climate shift by evolving into new species and creating new ecosystems. Humans cannot. I'm just saying, life on Earth can recover from drastic climate shifts by evolving into new species and creating new ecosystems. Humans cannot. Yes, but America is the one that needs to lead this. The IPCC 6 assessment offers a stark choice. The decisions that nations make now will determine whether our species thrives or life becomes simply just a matter of survival in the coming century. The worst is yet to come, affecting our children and grandchildren's lives much more than our own. The report also underlines that humans continue to wreak havoc on some of our greatest allies in combating global heating, like the ocean and the forests. Climate activist Greta Thunberg told AFP that while the IPCC draft assessment confirmed that the situation is very dire and urgent action was needed, she was also hopeful that it could wake people up. We can of course not face this crisis unless we tell it like it is, unless we are adult enough to tell the truth and face reality. True. That's all we want. I mean, like, is that too much of an ask? Is that too much of an ask? Is just to, like, accept the reality of science and attempt to do everything that we can within our power to just kind of mitigate this. I mean, we're talking about an uncountable amount of human suffering, an uncountable amount of damage. I mean, the UN draft assessment also emphasizes there's still much that can be done to avoid the worst impacts. Individual actions are important, but transformational change is needed at all levels, including businesses, institutions, and governments. I mean, there's just no way around it. As agriculture, forestry, and other land use are currently accounts for about 25% of global emissions, the IPCC draft reports that a global shift to more plant-based diets could reduce emissions in the food sector by as much as 70% by 2050. In a statement to the independent, IPCC said it was unable to comment on the report is not yet final and will go through further changes. The IPCC added that the final approved and accepted version of the report is planned for its release in February of 2022, and at that point, earlier drafts will also be issued. So yeah, I mean, like, the TLDR of this, because I think we went over this, the TLDR is, it's looking stark, and it would behoove us to maybe do something about it. One of H.G. Wells' predictions may come to pass with all humanity, may have to head underground for a few thousand years, but who will decide who goes well? That's something I'm hoping I'm not around to witness. I'm not sure. Thinking Sabercat, I have no idea what exactly is going to happen in terms of the severity of these impacts, how much we end up mitigating, if we end up mitigating anything at all, what our government chooses to do, how effective can we make a international coalition to fight this? All of these things are to be seen. I mean, like I said, if we can't get like an energy, it talks about green energy or like investing in whatever methods and get us off fossil fuels as quickly as possible, in as many ways as possible. If we can't do that in this upcoming infrastructure bill, then I believe the momentum is gone. Who knows? We'll see what happens. It's just not looking good. Alright folks, it is 11:25. Unfortunately, I do have to start heading out. I appreciate all of you guys hanging out here with me today in this Monday morning. As always, guys, you guys are what makes this channel grow. If you guys enjoy the content, make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you head on over to the YouTubes and like, comment, share, subscribe, tell everybody, and join us on our Discord. And if you enjoyed this content, do me one huge favor, folks. One huge favor. Tell everybody and anybody that this is the chillest place to be for news and politics. Alright? Tell everybody and anybody that this is the chillest place to be in news and politics, alright? Just do that. Later King, later. Thank you, I appreciate that. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you, Darknet. Thank you, Spread It Forward. I appreciate all of you guys hanging out here. As always, please stay safe. The chillest by far. Thank you. Please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next stream. See ya! Thanks for the follow. Appreciate that. Alright, folks. Hang tight. Well, I was not aware. Lost Sue is on. Let's go show the support to Lost Sue. Please show a difficult truth, love, and respect to Lost Sue, and sit around. Sit around for their stream. They are incredibly knowledgeable in terms of like indigenous rights. Please take a listen, and you may learn something. I really do appreciate the history and knowledge that Lost Sue knows. Now let's go take a look here. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go.